Hello, hello. This is Line and Zine coming at you, unfiltered and untamed. Today, I am going to talk to you about something that I thought was interesting. I was surfing and I came across a funny comedian that I've always tended to like to listen to, made me laugh. And, thinking it through, you realize that comedians, fools, clowns, they have a very interesting take on things. They're able to take some complexity and really, how should I say, deconstruct it to a point where it's, easy to digest by a lot of people. And it's a gift. And what's really great is that humor is also a very human way of communicating. There's no humor in heaven, as Twain says, no laughter in perfection. There's no room for irony, there's no room for despair, two of the most important qualities in humor. It's probably why Jews have always been able to produce some of the great comedians, whether it's the stories of Helm or it's the Marx Brothers or the Seinfelds, the Larry Davids, the Lenny Bruces, the Adam Sandlers, Jackie Masons. This is just a few, but Jews have been known to embrace laughter. I think it's deep in our traditions. One of our patriarchs, Isaac Yitzchak, his name Yitzchak comes from the word sochek, which is laughter. Why? Because his mother laughed when she heard she was going to have a baby as a senior citizen. I think laughter is deeply rooted in our cultural DNA, and I think it's been one of the ways and mechanisms Jews have been able to live in a very hard and long exile. But listening to this specific comedian, he was discussing the conflict that Israel's been in within the last 14 to 16 months. His name's Tim Dillon. I wouldn't say he's super famous, but he's famous enough. He has a podcast, a good following. He's on Rogan a few times a year, or at least if it's been a few times where he has been on Rogan. And I caught one of his rants on Israel, and I thought it was funny, but it also told you more about his society than what he was describing about Israel. So the first one I heard was about how Israel is the sort of kid that gets his American friend into trouble all the time because he comes from the bad part of town. His parents are, abusive. He's a little bit cracked. And he gets America to do, naughty things. Firecrackers, a little vandalism. But I do enjoy that kind of playground motif. It's like Orwellian, making, reducing complex politics to, Animal Farm. If I was to do it, I would take a different approach than Tim Dillon did. I would look at it as like Israel's like that smart, nerdy kid in class, It's like, the kind of kid that when he answers, he kind of makes everybody else look like kind of bad. And for like many, many years, because he got like, beat up severely, he's been keeping his mouth shut, not trying to mess with anybody. We can call that the 2,000 years of exile from the Roman to the 1948 reestablishment. They were quiet, trying not to keep our head down. And then we saw Rocky. We decided, we heard that music, Eye of the Tiger, and we decided one summer we were going to do some workouts. We were going to, pump some iron, get a good diet. So we got ourselves a little sliver of land, and we got a little independence, put in some F-16s, thanks, and some, army, won some wars. And every once in a while now we pipe up. And the other kids don't like it. They want us to shut up. They remember those 2,000 years when everything was good and quiet, and they were like, head of the class, Mr. Personality. They were notable. That kid just kind of kept his mouth shut. Good, but now he's opening his mouth. He's getting a little mouthy. America in this scenario is like in those like 1980s John Hughes films. He's like the popular, good-looking quarterback. Everybody wants to be his friend. He's athletic. He's naturally gifted and talented. Not the sharpest, but a good heart. And he sees his nerdy friend over there and he wants to help him, but not too much, right? Like he doesn't want to lose his status as like the popular kid, you know? And so that's more how I see this scenario. It's not like Israel's getting America to do stuff. It's like Israel's getting America to remember what it's like to be a good conscience and not just thinking about being, head of the class president and, winning homecoming king and queen and all that and getting the good looking chicks. Just remember, it's about doing good stuff. There's that nerdy kid that might need your help. Wouldn't hurt because he's a good kid and he's gonna do good things if he can just get out of this bloody classroom. But regardless, you want the nerdy kid to also be able to defend himself. You want the kid to be able to do some Bruce Lee shit. Like the guy, one of the guys comes up to him, and the first guy that comes up, and hopefully the biggest guy, you just do one nice decisive move, hit him right in the neck. Make him like, and then everybody else sees that overweight bully kind of choking, and then kind of leave them. We're good. We all good. That's kind of what. But then the problem is if Israel does that, then everybody's like ICC. It's disproportionate. They were just coming to ask you if you want to sit next to them for lunch. They weren't going to do anything bad to you. Okay, it's a reverse bully. Okay, that's more of the sort of what I would do with the Tim Dillon rant. Okay, the Tim Dillon rant's a little oversimplified and it's a bit inaccurate. The other thing he talked about, which I thought was funny, was he talked about how Israel, everybody's exhausted about Israel and talking about Israel, and how the Jews are always talking about anti-Semitism, and he does the voice of this Woody Allen-esque middle-aged Jewish woman from Queens who's always asking to take photos, photo. Wherever you are, photo. But I think that says more about what's going on in their societies. They just want to chill out, watch the Super Bowl, pop a Bud Light, argue about if a man is a woman or a woman is a man, and you go on Amazon and buy some cheap shit. They don't want to have to deal with the real world, basically. And Israel is sitting there in the region where all this stuff is brewing, this anti-West, anti-liberalism, anti-individual, no secular, nothing. It's they're I don't know. It's best way to put it is Israel's the Shire, but it happens to be right next to Mount Doom. Okay, Sauron is a few clicks away. Okay, and they're sort of banging the drums and going and ringing the bells and saying, guys, the orcs are coming. Okay, of course they're not orcs, they're human beings, everybody's human, but in this situation we're talking medieval barbaric minds. Okay, people who want the whole world to be under an Islamic caliphate. Okay, so bear with me in this scenario. Tim Dillon's I've write enough already, okay? Just pretend the orcs aren't coming, that Sauron doesn't have the ring of power, and it's all going to be good if you just shh. Just because you guys are tired. The Europeans, they can't even have more kids to replace their populations. They're literally bringing immigrants by the millions. We just finished the Biden thing. Who knows, what's going on over there? It just seems like you guys are tired. All right. Whether we ring the bell or not, they're coming. Okay? So, okay, we photo. We're not going to do it, all right? Don't worry. We don't want to ruin your Sunday afternoon, okay? As the tsunami of orcs are coming your way. Have fun, okay? Anyways, I thought these were interesting little tidbits. Wanted to share it with you. It's always good to look at various different vectors of how the world is seeing this conflict and a little breaking it apart. Humor, we can't ignore it. It's there. Makes you have food for thought, and I thought I would share. Have a good one.